Hi, this is Chris Young, and welcome to Good News on Tap for the second Sunday of Lent. I like action movies. Movies with lots of things blowing up and car chases and shootouts between the good guys and the bad guys. I suppose James Bond movies are the best of the kind. They're always a lot of fun. Usually James Bond sneaks into the secret lair of the bad guy, gets caught. He gets tied up in some sort of intricate trap where he's going to get cut up by laser beams or blown out of the airlock of the space station or some other bizarre way of getting killed. All the bad guy really had to do was pull out a gun and put a bullet in him, but it would have been all over with. But in the movies, the bad guys always have to kill you with some elaborate scheme, and the good guys always find a way out in the end. Kind of ruins things for you, doesn't it? I mean, the hero is put in peril, but he's the hero. You know there's going to be a sequel. You know he's going to survive to live and fight another day. All of the drama and the suspense that movie makers and storytellers try to create, in the end it doesn't matter whether they cut the red wire or the blue wire. You know they're going to disarm the bomb and everybody's going to live happily ever after. The good guy is going to win in the end. And real life has a lot more uncertainty than any of that. We don't know how things are going to turn out. We don't always know the end of the story. A month ago, could you have predicted that the protesters in Egypt would have been successful in overturning their dictator? A week ago, could you imagine that the United Nations and NATO and other Western allies were going to intervene in Libya on behalf of the rebels? We still don't know how that's going to turn out. There's a lot of uncertain things going on in the world. We got the nuclear problems in Japan and the recovery from that disaster. Closer to home, the economic future is slightly on the upturn, but still has a long way to go. And on the individual family level, people are still facing great uncertainty in their future. So now put yourself in the position of the apostles. You've been following this man named Jesus, who you've seen do amazing things. And you believe him to be the Messiah, but you can't really be sure. You've traveled with him for almost 3 years. You've seen thousands become his followers, yet you've also seen thousands turn away when he talked about his flesh being real food. Still haven't figured that one out yet, but you're going to stick it out anyway. It all boils down to faith. In the Old Testament reading, Abram really didn't know what his future was like, but he had faith. We can only imagine what it was like for Moses and the chosen people to wander around in the desert all those years. They didn't know how their story was going to end, but they had to have faith. God understands that faith doesn't always come easy. We're going to have highs and lows in our lives. God knew that the apostles were about to face a great low. He knew that Jesus was going to be taken from them, and their faith was going to be tested so severely that even Peter would deny Jesus 3 times. He knew they would need something to sustain them and to help their faith. So Jesus led 3 of his apostles to a mountaintop where he was transfigured, and they could see him in all of his divine glory, and see him standing next to Moses and Elijah, who were 2 of their holiest ancestors. And if all of that wasn't enough, the voice comes down from the heavens and identifies Jesus as the Son of God, in whom he is well pleased. You can't imagine what kind of a high point that must have been for Peter, James, and John. I mean, to see all of that, they wanted to hang on to that experience up on the mountaintop. They wanted to erect tents and create memorials so that that spiritual high would never leave them. And then suddenly it was all gone. All they had was the memory and a command to tell no one what they'd seen. Now, our lives are going to have highs and lows. There are going to be times of great joy, like weddings and birth of children and religious experiences on retreat, Super Bowl victories, Final Four victories. And then there are going to be low times as well, illness and death, disasters, times of great loss and suffering, times of uncertainty and doubt. times when our faith's going to be challenged. If we can hang on to the memories of those highs, those mountaintop experiences, they can strengthen and sustain our faith through the tough times, through the lows in our life. Although the apostles didn't realize it at the time, they were being given a spoiler of how the story was going to end. Jesus was going to be glorified. They had a sneak preview of the ending. However, despite that spoiler, it's still not the end of the story. And that's Good News on Tap for the second Sunday of Lent.